Alright, hello and welcome everyone to the Meagher Valley Base Guide. Today we are going to actually start out a little bit backwards. This was kind of like I wouldn't call it a forever community, but it was my community where I just kind of hoarded things, so essentially a forever community. So today we're going to start out a little backwards because I was already in Whitney Field. So we're going to go ahead and start with this base. This is also one of my favorite, if not my favorite, bases in the entire game on what is my favorite map of the game. And it also tends to be the most powerful. But we will start with location. That is stereotypically the least important thing when it comes to how I look at bases. So as you can see, it is in the very southern side of the map, which does make it a little bit tedious trying to deal with anything up here. Now, the easiest way to combat that is while you're mid-gaming up at Squalones or even Mazzara to try and handle as many play cards as you can up here, because they tend to not be as dense right about there, and they're fairly dense right here. So if you clear that out, then on the second portion of the game, you can just worry about all of this that's much, much closer, and it also lets you scatter out your outposts pretty good throughout the map as well. But as far as location goes, it can be a bit of an annoyance once you have to, drive way up here to help these idiots out. That means you've got to deploy almost to the far northern point of the map. Now, one of the plus sides of it, which I don't know if it's really a plus side, because if you haven't gotten it by the time you get to this base, then you're a little bit behind, but you do have the super loot locations over here. Both of those abandoned storefronts have a ton of supplies in them. We will actually go look at it here shortly once we get towards the end of this. But that can come in handy as well if you saved it till the very end for some reason, so that you can try and build up the final base. But I digress. As I said, as far as location, it is pretty rough to get into. Now, this being an in-game base, it is also a requirement to have 8 people. Yes, I know I have 7 right now, but that's just because I kicked somebody out because he had terrible stats, to be quite honest. So we cleaned him out. It also requires 3,500 influence, which is a little steep when you're playing in Lethal Zone and even in Nightmare. In the lower difficulties, like this one, since it's just a forever community, it is just standard. So it's no big deal. It'll be easy as pie to just kind of float between base to base because influence is extremely easy to come by. Supplies, as you can tell, extremely easy to come by. I haven't had to loot very much of anything outside of plague hearts, and as you can see, there's still scattered ones that I haven't finished looting. On top of it being an 8-man 3,500, it does come with some pretty neat built-ins that you will get for that money. It does come with 2 fortified bleachers, which both act pretty much as a watchtower. Unfortunately, they do still cost ammo per day. It's -1 for each, I do believe. Ammo, yep, takes 1 per day, and you have 2 of them, so you're losing 2 ammo per day, which can be a pain, but hey, at least it's ammo. On a higher difficulty, you're not really shooting a lot of bullets, and on a lower difficulty, finding them is not really that difficult. It doesn't really serve too much of a purpose. It will help a little bit when you get sieges and stuff, but it's still not that big a deal. The command center is just basic. You upgrade it to whatever you already have it. Your mod stays placed if you have one. The storage also comes standard. It's just a basic one. Obviously, I've upgraded it to a fire safe so that I can have extra ammo and fuel, because fuel is the primary thing that I like to use for duking it out with zombies. I do much prefer, which I don't have it on right now, but usually I use my biochem just so that I can create bloater gas and blow stuff up, because why not? And then the final built-in, the best one, is the announcer box. It has the ability to turn on white noise, which will hit your morale a little bit and reduce your zombie threat, but it's pretty much useless. What you really want to use is the draw in the Zeds, which will start a little mission called Ring the Dinner Bell, which we will do right now. So what you do is you simply go to the announcer box and press it. 10 seconds will stroll by, and whilst it's doing that, just walk to the front door. Once it does that, you can simply leave. Now, you can stay and fight the zombies if you so choose, but it is not a requirement by any means to do so. In fact, whilst they duke it out, we'll go over here. Oh, hello, bloater. Not today. Whilst they duke it out, we'll walk right on over here. And in case you have somehow not ever seen the super loot location, oh, no you don't. I want to burn them. Nope. Alright, let's get this over with. Go away. There we go. All clear, all clear. So, in these super loot locations... Oh, and of course that one's empty. It's really that one back there, I do believe, but I'm going to take everything I get. So inside of this one, you've got 2 materials and a fuel. That is guaranteed. You will find that stuff on any difficulty, anytime, any playthrough. Alright. Mr. T-Rex arms there went for a nibble. But as I said, in this far one, you will get 2 materials and 1 fuel every time. And then in this one, I believe it's those duffel bags, but it usually has some pretty good luxury items. And as I open that up, which I do like ethanol, you will find 2 more materials and another fuel. So we'll go ahead and load this stuff up, and we'll grab one of the materials just because I don't need them. I have an overload of them. And then you'll notice up at the mission counter, it just says clear out the remaining zombies. So it's telling us the siege is over. We just need to clear out any stragglers. So now that we're done gathering our supplies, we can head home. In this case, luckily, it's a simple little drive because we didn't go across the frickin' map. But we'll get home. We'll do our standard affair and we'll load in all this stuff. See, we're over on materials again. We'll put all that stuff up, and then when we walk through the front door, bang. Mission cleared. and I got a slick 320. I think the standard is like 300. I do have a... Who is it? I do have a tough negotiation character who also has cuisine, so I do get a bonus 45%, so it might be 250. Yeah, because I have another cuisine right there. So it may just be 250, but you can just spam it. I mean, you can literally just drive away. As soon as it's over, turn around, come back, do it again, drive away, wait till it's over, come back, so on and so forth, and you can just stack money on money on money. Now, last of the built-ins, obviously parking. You get 4 of them. This is a large base. They do give you a lot of parking, which is awesome. And as you can see, I've collected quite a few cars. I've got the Impaler, I've got the Meat Wagon, I've got the... God, I don't even know what to call this monstrosity. I think it's the Big Daddy or something. Big Boss. Big Daddy. And then I've got the Mighty Max, just because this thing looks freaking sweet. I don't know why. It just reminds me of the stuff we used to do as kids here in Tennessee. Make muscle cars look ridiculous for no good reason whatsoever. But it does. It has 4 parking spaces, so you're not hurting for space over there on that. Now then, for the stuff you can customize, you do have 5 smalls and you've got 3 larges. This is probably the best to build up a ridiculously strong base. So we'll start with the most important stuff first, which would be the workshop and the infirmary. Those are musts. You always are going to want a workshop, especially by the time you're to the end game base. I mean, you've got to craft, you've got to repair and salvage. I mean, you're going to want to be able to make explosives more than likely. Probably C4 charges specifically, but you're going to want to do that. You're going to need tool kits. That is the largest thing that you're going to need out of this, is just a ton of tool kits, and it's just going to be a requirement for the most part by the end game. And then infirmary, I don't really feel as though I need to go into this one as much. Oh, there's my biochem. That's right, it goes in the infirmary. Haha. But I don't feel like I need to talk about it too much. You can put people in for treatment, get them over the blood plague. You can craft your blood plague samples, produce meds, which I never really do, and then you could also go the route of strong painkillers to make a ton of money. Now, the other way to make a ton of money is to use a still. So both of these are still level 2s. So I can craft beer. Now, if I have a specialist in alcoholics, i.e. a bartender, the beer also comes with, I believe it's a growler of whiskey of some sort. I can't honestly remember, but it just adds a whole nother item to sell, and for each one of those you make more than a rucksack is really worth. And it only costs 3 food to do it. Now, the reason I have 2 of them is because obviously I'm on standard and I only use 0.25 food per day because I have 2 leveled up outposts and the adventurers provide it for some reason I don't remember. And then on top of that, I have a meal plan leader. I used to have 2. But I also have someone with meal plan, so that drops at 25%, on top of it being standard zone. So I can just hoard food like no one's business. So we will craft one of each of those. But yeah, that's what you do with that right there. That's my favorite way at the moment of making money. I don't know about the conversion rate when it comes to strong painkillers versus the beer. I will say it's much easier for me to brew the beer because I don't have to have a specialist in pharmacology. I don't have to have water because in the still you can collect water. So you don't even actually have to have the water utility. And yeah, it's my favorite way at the moment of making money. I can just run both of these at the same time and go ham on making some money. Now, this last one, in higher difficulties, it is far more important to build something else here. I have sheltered beds just because I wanted to run my white noise machine. But if I was in lethal zone, I would be going for the fighting gym. I'll just go ahead and build it now. I would be going for the fighting gym strictly because it increases your health. I would not be upgrading it or anything like that. I just want the health increase with no costs. Right? These stills, if you were in a higher difficulty, i.e. Nightmare and Lethal, probably could get rid of one of those and you could add a shooting range because it will give you some extra stamina. That being said, I don't really find stamina all that important once you start playing on Lethal and Nightmare, because by then you should be competent enough to know that you can still run away. Because even when you're out of stamina, you can still run pretty fast. Fast enough to get away from everything but a feral, really. A feral will still beat your butt, but look, I'm still going. Ain't nothing stopping me now. So the stamina, while nice, is not 100% necessary. But if you like stamina, then by all means, build the shooting range, build the base however you want to build it. Now we get to the 3 large slots. Now this is where it gets a little bit easier. I have, obviously, Trade Depot, Lounge 3, and the Haven device. The Haven device is just simply because I could. I put it on here just to have it. I had it in my inventory, so I might as well use it in a large slot, especially since I'm on standard. I don't really need a whole lot else. So feel free, put whatever you want there. If you want to put an auto shop for a little while so that you can upgrade your cars, go for it. You can also put the auto shop in for a salvage furnace and then plug a salvage furnace into your workshop as well. And you will boost how many parts you get when you do your salvaging. So it'll stack. Then you could also do a field hospital and do double primary care right here. So you could go into the field hospital just like your infirmary, go to medical help, and do primary care. And you can do that twice. Now, they did drop the injury chance down. You used to be all but invincible for the most part. And it was fantastic, but you can't really do that anymore. Even still, it is a extremely powerful thing to do because you just won't get hurt. It's quite nice when you're getting tackled by ferals and stuff, because that's what ultimately kills you, is how much damage you've taken, or how much your injuries have accrued, I should say. Now, the next slot is the must slot. This is what you want. Everybody needs this in their base. They need a lounge level 3. You can have much better slots put in here. I don't have anything good in here. I'm not 100% sure why I don't. I think I just liked how quick that was. Yeah, that's a quick one. That's why. But you want this lounge level 3. It's going to give you 2 beds and then 15 morale. It's going to cost you a material a day, but it is well worth it for this thing that I'm hovering over right here. You can watch training videos, which is fantastic. It will increase a little bit of every single skill so that you can max everybody out passively. I have not played very much as most of these folks. all I really played with them as is long enough to get their hero, and that's it. I haven't even gotten him to hero yet, and yet maxed out. He's completely maxed and a citizen. And I've never had him at hero status. So that is probably one of the best things to do. You just turn it on, costs 3 labor, takes 5 minutes, not that big a deal. Now, this one is just what I typically have, just to have it, essentially. The trade depot is one of the most powerful things to have in the game. It allows you to obviously call in traders, as I did before I started this video. You just go down to your call in traders, and you can get food, ammo, fuel, parts, materials, and meds. So all of the basic things that you need, you can call them in. Now, that being said, it does take a long time for you to be able to get them back in. It's only an hour on standard, but I think it gets even higher on lethal, if I remember correctly. I don't really build it too often because I usually don't get into big enough bases on lethal zone. I tend to just kind of hit a mid-game base and then run it through. But having this on lethal, if you're trying to play it all the way out, man, these things are amazing. It's the only way that you can quickly get materials in order to build up your bases all the way. And it's also a good way of getting food, because as we all know, you eat a ridiculous amount on lethal zone. That is essentially the largest thing with it. Now, could you get rid of it? Yes, you could get rid of it, and you could do something like an auto shop, and then up here do a forge and put salvage furnaces on all of them, and you would triple how much you get for salvaging your items. Now, if you truly wanted to go all out, you could take out the lounge. You could pick a warlord and put him in as your leader. I don't even think I have a warlord. Yeah, I do. You could take a warlord and appoint them as your leader, and then you can build the what's it called? I've only built it once just to build it. I believe it's like the barracks or something like that, where you can produce all the different ammos, and you can slot in yet another salvage furnace, and you can quadruple how many parts you get when you're salvaging. And that is a very, very good way to make money, because by the time you're in an in-game base like this, you've looted a ton of stuff. You've got a ton of random melee weapons that you don't need. You've got a ton of ranged weapons you don't need. You've got a ton of backpacks you can scrap. You can scrap bandages. You can scrap snacks. You can scrap just about anything that would be completely worthless to you by the time you're at in-game, and you can turn all of that into parts. And parts, of course, when you go to sell them, are 1 influence each. So if you ended up with 10 grand in parts, then you could turn that into 10 grand of influence. Not that you would really need it with this announcer box, but it is a very feasible thing. Now, you can mix and match some of these combos. Like here you could have the field hospital. Here you could put an auto shop. That way you can put the salvage furnace here, double up your salvage furnaces so you get double, and then you can do double primary care and still keep your lounge, so that you can passively train your people up while still getting the influence, or not the influence, the morale boost. Now the fighting gym, I don't think I have anything good to put in here. You really would want the free weights. It'll give you another 10 max health, but just the standard one of these gives you plus 20 health, and it gives you some fighting XP. So that's quite handy in and of itself. It is a must in Lethal Zone. It will help keep you alive, because they will do more damage, and you will get beat up. It doesn't matter how good you are, you're going to get beat up. But what we're going to do, we're going to take all of that, that is from one batch from each of the stills. We'll call in a trader. I just called in food. I bought everything they had. Let's... we'll go ammo just because why not? We'll call in an ammo trader. And once you do that, they will pop up. Select them. The only thing I can say is when you're in your base, if you're going to wait for them at the base rather than call them before you go to base, try to stand on the far side because they will get beat up by zombies if there's a bunch of them close to your base. Like, if I was over here, there's a chance that he could get beat up by that feral, and I don't feel like dealing with that, plus the horde. There's just no need to deal with all that. Just let them run past them. They will despawn, essentially. Well, they turn into numbers once you're a certain distance away. They don't do anything. There's no combat that's simulated. But then once he's nice and close, or she, my bad, once they are nice and close by, you can select them, and as you can see here, we get 153 per 3 of the beers. So one batch each, that's what, 150 and 150's 300, 408? Yeah, so 408 for one batch each. That's 2 rucksacks. And you're getting 400. Costs $3.50 to get 2 rucksacks. You're doing pretty good. You're doing pretty good indeed. But we will sell all of this and essentially bankrupt them. They don't have anything I super duper want, but I will take that just because. Why not? Always like having a boomstick. Let's see, what else is there to go over? There's not really a ton left for me to tell about it. Let's see. It doesn't have any... Which you will get some bonuses in your morale. So some of your characters will possibly like the fortified bleachers that count as watchtowers, and you will get bonus morale for that, which can also be quite handy. But as far as this base goes, I mean, you've got enough space to build what you want. This is just my basic template for how I would build it. Now that is interchangeable. I could care less about having that on lethal zone. I don't know what I would put there. If I had to do it all over again, I'd probably just put a field hospital there, and I'd run double primary just to keep my butt safe when I'm out being silly, fighting far too many zombies for no good reason whatsoever. But that is the quick lowdown of this base. Also got to show you the super loot location down here. Please, if you play Meagher Valley, or Mayor, however you want to say it, make sure you get your super loot. But that is pretty much it. We will do a quick walk around of the base, because why not? Some people are very judgy about the aesthetic of the bases. Oh, he's getting tired. But this is the front. This is where you park. I have my armored vehicle over there. But you can get in by going around that driveway. Shoot some fire over there. Or you can just drive down that bank like every other normal person. It is very well fortified. Most of it is covered up by barbed wire or buildings, so zombies can't really jump in. There's 2 doors there and a door beside these bleachers. Then as you run around, they can jump there. But then this is all blocked off. You will have a bathroom in your safe zone, so you can loot that, and it does usually have medicine. But outfield, just like in a real baseball field, is covered up by walls. And then you come to the last door. And this is all, for the most part, barbed wire. They can climb right here. But that's also right beside the watchtower. So chances are they're going to get their heads blasted off long before they get over that. Now for the inside, when you walk in, you're immediately at your storage, which is nice for when traders like that come in. Usually they will come to this door, so it's just a quick back and forth. And then to the right, you have your command center. Then you have one of the bleachers. As you can see, they can sit here and splat everything out there. And then over here is our fighting gym. And right up here is the announcer box. Love how they have all the water bottles in there too. And some duct tape. Always need duct tape and candles. And a laptop. And of course we got some whiskey. So what zombie apocalypse would be complete without some whiskey? So that's making me curious what they've got over here now. And then here is the Haven device. So this is our large slots. All right on the outside. And I do like actually how open this is, because when you get a larger siege, it is much easier to stand out here and deal with anything that makes it past your defenses than it is to be in a tight quarters place like the corner office or the church. That is, where is the church? Oh yeah, I have people in it, I think. Where is that stupid church? I know there's a church here somewhere. Yeah, I think I have people in it. Pretty sure that's them. But it is quite nice fighting off the larger zombie threats. But everything is laid out nice and easy to get to if you so choose. Like I said, it's one of my favorite bases, if not my favorite base. It is extremely customizable, and you can make it however you want. But that's it. Now, I know I said it would be quick. I know it ended up being like 30 minutes, but try and talk about everything that we can talk about when it comes to this base. I appreciate you watching. If you have any questions or anything that you want to know, please comment at the bottom. If you liked this guide, then please drop a like, subscribe, do all that good stuff so that I know that these guides are enjoyed so I can continue making them. Right now I'm going to start working on the rest of the map. I'm going to go right back to Clarington, and then from there we're going to work our way up the bases until we get back down to Whitney Field. I guess I will have to figure out how I'm going to take out the Garfunkels. We'll deal with that problem a different day. But I appreciate everybody watching. Again, like and subscribe. My Twitch is attached to this account. I don't stream State of Decay as much on Twitch. I more play other games that I'm into at the moment. Like right now, it's Skyrim and Astroneer, just out of pure boredom, and I kind of hyperfixate on random games whenever I come across them. But check me out there, and as always, I appreciate y'all watching. I'm the ADHD Gamer, and I'll see you in the next one.